Hello, welcome back to Who Be an Actor. My name is Mokhari Masugu and I am an actor. I had no idea what I was going to talk with you about this week. I went for, I had a week of rehearsals. I got a job. And I've been in rehearsals for a week, and a week takes it out of you. I was going to talk about that, and then when I woke up today, and because I planned today, it's going to be my recording day, I'm going to be rested after the long weekend, that doesn't sing to me anymore, so I don't know what to do. So I went for a walk, I did some tidying, I cooked, I did some cooking, and still nothing. So we're just gonna have a chat. I want to talk a little bit about my drama school experience. During this first week of rehearsal, we're working a lot with like memories and honesty and kindness and stuff and stuff. And I'm trying to remember my time in a loving way, because what I discovered, and probably is known as fact in the world, what I discovered is the painful memories are easiest to remember, and they sort of weave together this tapestry of, oh, I didn't die, I survived that, I'm a hero. But there have to be some good memories, something that sustained me in the journey in order for me to have stayed as long as I did. She comes over to me and she just kind of holds my hips. She steps back, she holds my hips, and she sort of adjusts, and I just kind of, I kind of look at her from the side, and inside I'm smiling. I wasn't offended. I found it funny, because it wasn't the first time a European movement teacher had gone, "You're thrusting out your pelvis." She never said it. I mean, the one time the teacher was like, "You'd have no problems with your posture if you went," and I was just like, "I have a big ass. You have a flat ass." In my head, I said it in my head. I didn't say it out loud, you know. But this movement teacher came and she thingy, and then she sort of put her hands on the base of my spine, you know, of my spine, you know, where the rise, you know, she put it there, and then I looked at her, and then she smiled and winked and went, and then she walked off. And I was like, ooh, and I had to fight giggles for the rest of the class because I felt like we just shared a secret. Turns out we had, my friend, my fellow African, said to me that she had been in class with her another time, and the teacher had gone to her and said, "Oh, you know, you're thrusting at your pelvis," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And they spent time working on it. She's like, it goes out so far. And it does. I mean, depending on the person, it can go out very far. And my friend's does. She's built. So it was so funny. And every class after that, we'd do sun salutations. We'd be, you know, like getting to know your body, doing all the things. And she would walk past and go, "Mm-hmm," and keep walking. It felt like a moment of sunshine in an otherwise tough journey. We did the Stanislavski technique, which in American circles, the one aspect of it has been called the method or method acting. So we did biomechanics, which is another type of training, and biomechanics is super rigorous and just hard. And our biomechanics teacher was very intense. And we did, sorry, I just went back in my head and my mind went blank. Isn't that insane? Okay. Okay. It was intense. I've tried, and we've tried, sort of like as global majority students to, I don't know, understand, walk through why it's so, the entire experience, but the experience was so traumatizing. Tried to look at why, and I don't know if it's the combination of, we were the most diverse class, the most diverse acting cohort in the country, and I think in Europe at one point. And a lot of eyes were on our teachers and on the school, and not enough work was done to prepare the teachers for what it is to teach non-English students. As in, culturally, how not to try and make people white. Not enough work, or it wasn't recognized that that work is necessary, that being good enough is not and does not equate with being white enough. And I'm understanding now that a lot of our training was about making us as white as possible. Consciously or subconsciously, it was reaching a standard or a sameness that I can't achieve and I don't want to achieve. We did Lecoq, which is intense and funny and crazy, and also sort of how we're making the show that I'm in now, so it's familiar and it's nice. And it's also interesting watching people who haven't worked using those tools learn how to use those tools, and me relearning how to use those tools, and feeling the fear and confusion of, I don't know what I'm doing, and that's okay. We did that. But the main thing, the overarching theme was, rather than feeling a joy in the not knowing, there was constantly a sense of panic that I didn't know enough and I never would. And there was constantly a standard I couldn't quite reach. As in, there was a notion of what a black woman is, and a sort of, I guess, attempt to guide me there. But no. See what I mean? So I then ended up spending a lot of time not understanding why I was failing, or feeling like I was failing. And I knew that I wasn't going to get top grades. Like from first term, from that first encounter, I was like, these people are never going to let me. And I despaired. Now this is all personal to me and someone else who maybe looks like me and sort of went through a similar sort of conservatoire training may have a completely different and has a similar cultural background to me, similar age, may have a completely different kind of reaction and experience of it. And that's being human. But all of the combined factors, the being of a completely different culture, coming from a colonized space into a place that didn't recognize their power? No. Well, yes. No. Okay. I think what happens a lot with drama schools is that there's a sort of regalness that is in the executive branch that feeds to the teachers, and then it has an impact on the masses. So if you're not part of the regal, it's harder to walk. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm feeling the dregs of like that moment when I was like, oh my God, my mind went blank. I'm feeling the dregs of it. And I'm trying not to put you off or to make you feel scared about going or to trigger you if that's your experience and, you know, have an argument. What I want to do is, what's happening is that I'm talking. That's it. And it's frustrating because I can't use details because, of course, my entire experience had other people in it, and I can't be incredibly specific without infringing on their experience. I can talk about an instant of being pressured about my faith by a couple of classmates and refusing to back down. Like, that was a beautiful moment for me because I'd been feeling since I arrived in drama school that being a person who's a Christian or a person of faith, in fact, is verbally it's encouraged because you've got to. And I remember our teacher was like, you have to have something to hold on to, and you'll be flying apart. It can't be you. You need to have some sort of faith. That was verbally said, but then our faiths were constantly challenged. Like, how can you believe this? This is the truth. Why would you think that is the truth? It was constantly like that challenge, and I felt a constant pressure to renounce my beliefs and take on new ones. And let's be clear, no one said anything to me specific. Well, yes, they did, but it was kind of, there's sort of the idea that if you are a person of faith, somehow you're intellectually flawed or inferior. That was very much clear. So when this incident happened, and I was at one of my lowest points in my experience, in my drama school experience, we were in this room doing our warm-up. It was our warm-up room. It was second year. And a golden warmth rose inside of me. And I was calm and clear, and I didn't break. The two of them went at me for an entire hour, and I just did not break. No. Like, why would you believe? Why is this and right and not that not right? It's like, it's right for me. It works for me. It's like, well, then your faith says it. Like, I have never said that to you. It's like, well, it was constant. It was the two of them going back and forth and constant. And the more they spoke, the warmer the glow, the firmer the iron resolve inside of me was. In fact, my friend said afterwards that she was freaking proud. My fellow Christian was like, she was freaking proud because I didn't break. And one of my other course mates, who was a person of another faith, when I turned to her, I went to everyone else and it was like, I'm so sorry about that, but I couldn't back down. People were like, yeah, whatever. She said, well, you should have backed down. You should have been quiet. And that hurt. Because I was like, but you're a person of faith. There's so much else that's been taken away. Why should I give up my faith? Like, if everything is wrong about me, why am I even here? Again, I felt that and I thought that and I didn't say. Because by this point, my voice being a problem had been fully embedded. So, a beautiful moment was turned into a moment where I was again wrong. And I couldn't get right. No matter what I did, I couldn't get right. Until we started to act. Like when we were doing scenes, in the moment when I was with my scene partner, we were great. Now, I'd get feedback, and feedback, usefully as well, is about learning how to take direction. I'd get feedback, and it was sometimes difficult to understand, sometimes simple to understand, and I'm learning to hear different directors' voices. We worked with external directors. Some of them were okay, some of them were not. And, you know, a change in policy as to how that happens needs to happen. And all those experiences I learned. And what I learned was, I am an actor. This is what I'm born to do. So by the time we put on shows, by the time we were on stage, like, that was my happiness. That was my joy. The work. So I would endure the rest. Find maybe a few moments, because, like I said, the painful memories are the ones that end up stitching together, and you end up forgetting wonderful things, like lunches where we sat down and laughed, or really interesting political discussions and social discussions, and being on stage, being able to work, like opening a text, investigating it, finding out about your character, practicing all the different techniques that I was learning in order to see if I'm the kind of actor that actions, or the like walking the line, all the things, some of the things that I advise you to do when you're learning lines, some of the things that I advise you to, all these things about discovering the character, the world of the play, the world that your character was in, all of that. I learned all of that at drama school, and that was great. Like, I would watch films and not understand why it is that something was so evocative and amazing and completely compelling. I didn't understand that. Come to find out it's because the actor wasn't acting. They were living as that person for that time. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to live as that person for that time. And what does that mean? That means knowing as much about that person, knowing as much about myself as I can. And I can do that. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's scary, examining why that hurts, examining, that still affects me, doing all of that. I learned all of that at drama school, and I wouldn't have learned it maybe so well and maybe so quickly if I hadn't went or gone. So I say all of that to say this. I have absolutely no idea why we're having this conversation. I went for a walk and I couldn't figure out what I was going to say to you, so this is what's come out. I pray some of this has been useful. If you have any questions, if I can answer them, I will. If I can't, I will let you know. I'll try to let you know that I can't. Trying to look forward ambitiously to a point where this will have thousands of comments and I will be able to respond to them. I'm joking and being light and silly to sort of bring this conversation to a landing. Drama school will be a combination of who you are, what you've been through, who you're with, and who's teaching you. That's what your experience will be like. Whether it's great or good or fine or okay or absolutely horrible, will be a combination of who you are, where you've been, who you're with, and who's teaching you. That will be the thing. And in our case, the fact that who we are wasn't taken into account had a huge impact on our experience. Some good that came out of it is, especially after the Black Lives Matter protests, there's been a lot of examination about drama school practices and training methods and the environment in drama school. There's been a lot of examination of that, so hopefully what drama schools evolved into over time, because training has to change. You have to keep, as a teacher, you have to keep learning in order for you to stay up to date. Hopefully this new iteration of drama school is an even healthier environment for students and practitioners. And I hope whatever version of me is sitting here in 5 years or 50 years or 40 years is telling a very different story to the one I told you. I really hope so. I think that drama school can be a wonderful experience, even if you are not European and middle class. I think your socioeconomic background shouldn't determine whether or not you have a good experience. I think the tribe that you belong to shouldn't determine whether or not you have a good experience. I think it's possible for people and talents to meet and work together to help you become who you were meant to be. And that's what I hope for you. I hope each training course, each lesson, each experience, each job, each everything, I hope it helps you in a wonderful way to become who you are meant to be. I'm going to go have my cold cup of tea. And I'll leave you to it. Thank you so much for joining me. May God bless you. May He keep you. May He make His face to shine on you and be gracious to you. May He turn His countenance towards you and give you peace. I love you. God bless you.